In Lagos, finding a house is one thing. Being able to afford it is another. Over time, rents across the city have continued to rise, forcing many residents to ask the same question: what is really driving the cost of rent in Lagos? In part 1, we explored the experiences of tenants, landlords, agents, and experts. But beyond the frustration and the rising prices, another conversation began to emerge. Because while many people agree that rent is increasing, they do not agree on why. So in this second part, we continue the conversation. For many people within the real estate sector, the issue begins with one thing: demand. More people are looking for houses than there are houses available. And according to agents, once demand becomes higher than supply, prices naturally begin to rise.
I want to believe that we all know the law of demand and supply.
The demand and the supply should actually dictate, or the trend of the market should dictate what someone should pay for rent.
People that want to rent properties, they are far more than what the property that is available.
It just responds to the situation of the market.
If you have a property that comes out today, forget about it. We have more than 50 people that want to rent that same property. Some people are telling me that even if they see 4 million for 2 bedrooms, they are ready to pay. Yes, they are ready to pay 4 million, but it's not available.
Yes, it's crazy. My friend has been hunting for a house since, and then once he sees the house and he wants to come and pay, someone has paid for the house. It's crazy. People need to pull together to get a house now, because even if you want to stay separately, there's no house.
There's houses in Lagos now.
There is houses, just the house rent and all like that is carrying people actually. There is house in Lagos, definitely there is a lot.
While the pressure may have existed before, many believe the situation became worse after COVID-19. Projects slowed down, construction costs increased, the economy changed.
There has been the high demand over supply before, but post-COVID-19, a lot of developer, a lot of homeowner that they are building, they could not finish most of the projects. We have uncompleted projects scattered all around. Coupled with the cost of things, with the incoming of a new government, removal of subsidy, it affects everything in the economy. Therefore, property section is not isolated.
We have one currency that is powerful, that is used generally, and which is dollar. And you can see the exchange rate that really controls many things in Nigeria. And most of these things we use for building the properties are imported.
Therefore, the cost has gone haywire.
So by the time you import these materials and you use them to build, then you can expect something higher.
And as the cost of building continued to rise, so did the cost of housing. Building houses require funding, but according to some developers and agents, access to financing has become increasingly difficult.
Our banking system, they are not helping matter. The banking system, they are not helping the developers. A lot of people want to venture to develop, but the cost of borrowing is crazy. By the time you are borrowing at 30%, tell me, how many people can afford to do that? When you borrow at 30%, you want to finance a property? And now, by the time we manage to get that fund to build, now tell me how that person will now be talking about government will now be telling government that is not ready to help to mitigate the cost of borrowing. Now you now be telling the owner of the property that is not charge what is fair to him. Do we blame? Who do we blame?
Look at this. They are setting up a new construction. So by the time you come in, they're going to tell you, oh, they did this, they did that. So they're going to add prices. And I think that's the major reason why some Lagos landlords like to pursue their old tenants, because they're going to start renovating and they need to hike the price to get their money's worth.
It's due to the cost of materials, people building their houses, the new ones. So the old ones that are even available, they feel like to follow the trend, because nobody wants to short in any way or the other.
But housing demand in Lagos is not only influenced by economics. Every day, thousands of people move into Lagos. Some come searching for opportunity, others come searching for stability and security.
People are coming into Lagos every day. Like Lagos alone has, man, the population is much.
Most of the people are leaving their villages. Everybody is coming to Lagos. It's also part of this high demand we are talking about. Now, the numbers of people that are chasing property in Lagos, it is more than almost about double with the insecurity that is happening in other states. If you Google your distance, you will discover that Lagos is one of the safest places to live in. It makes a lot of people to want to stay in Lagos. Even in Ogun State, people are moving from Ogun State, they want to live in Lagos.
There's a report that says almost in every day, approximately 2,000 person comes into Lagos every day. They will stay somewhere. They will live somewhere. Do you get it? So that's a housing problem.
Conversations around rent in Lagos often return to regulation. Should fees be controlled? Should there be stricter enforcement? And if regulations already exist, why do many tenants still feel unprotected?
Most of the problems caused by agents based on their own interests.
All of them are just about this money, actually. So they want to get more.
Sometimes government may talk, but they don't do follow-up. Like this Fashola, that was the only one I can say is very effective, that 1 year payment. Assuming they do follow-up with this agent, that the percentage they are collecting is too much. At least someone's collect out, paying 200. If you collect 10%, it's still okay.
We have regulations, but when the chips are down, agents will also, they live in the same society, they live in the same community. They are under the same pressure. The agents are under the same pressure that every household also, they are under it. For instance, someone that's ready to pay for a rent like $1 million, and he said he wants to charge agency fee of 10%, and he has a lot of economic pressure at home. He has a school fees that the school fees has increased, and he now sees someone that offer him a bit more than that. Won't he take? Let us face the reality. Won't he circumvent the system to make sure that the highest bidder gets it? Let's face the reality. I'm not the one that will be telling you earlier than thou.
This whole thing of Lagos becoming a mega city, so they need to catch up to that standard. They will give you a toilet space and tell you a ridiculous amount because it's on the island or it's one very peaceful estate kind of environment, so it can be crazy.
I think it's the duty of the government to make a provision for housing for the Nigerians or for the Lagosians. If there is a proper procedure, proper discipline, and policy that they lay down that we should follow, I think people will not be misbehaving.
The prices are not even stable, actually. You get to a place, they'll call this, you get to the same single room and either room and parlor at different prices. So are they being the government put eye in it and say, okay, this is amount of a room and parlor should be a mini flat and all like that. Everybody will sit up. We know that fine. Government have said this, so why are you giving me this price?
You didn't build for someone else, so you can't. You possibly won't regulate and tell them this is how much you should. Yes, there's what you call the rent edict or so, where it talks about you can actually regulate. Yeah, we can't take that out, but the regulatory body does not have the right to say this is what you should charge for your rent.
Most of us blame the owner of the property. If you know the cost of building just a 2-bedroom in Lagos State. Now, when they want to bring in the tenants, the number of years it will take them to recoup that investment. And looking at our inflations, the way our inflation, the value of their investment in the next few years, you discover that it is nothing to write home about. The home seeker, they want to apportion the blame on the owner of the property, of which the reality is what I just said. Or they attributed part of the problem to we, the agent, of which I concur in some area. We are the middlemen that goes in between the owner of the property and the tenant. The money they are charging is fair, but the government can come up with a regulation that will make it a little bit simpler for the home seekers.
We have this Lagos tenancy law that regulates the amount you rent, and funny enough, this law is not so effective because the government helped no one. So they try to regulate that you can't take even 2 years rent. Until now, we see landlords, see agents collecting 2 years rent.
The regulation is not to tell you how much you should rent your property. The infrastructure within your property, the outlook of your property, the nature of your property, the location of your property, how good your property is. Well, those are the factors that determine how much you want to charge or you want a tenant to pay for the rent.
Except we want to go into a regime of regulated rent, which I don't think is best for anyone. The government did not build a house for the landlord. The government did not even give incentive for the landlords to build. So I don't think the law should regulate how much rent a landlord should charge.
Last year, I paid 42,000 naira land use charge. This year, I'm going to pay 137,000. That's about almost 300%. That's too much. And even the lawma, last month, I paid 10,000 naira per month. It's now 28,000 naira. That is too much. And that is why the government cannot regulate the rent. It's not possible.
Despite the disagreements, one thing almost everyone agrees on is that the pressure is increasing. So what happens next? Can rent in Lagos become more affordable? And if so, where does the solution begin?
The reality is that the cost of things has gone higher. Therefore, there are bound to be the high cost of rent.
So if we begin to produce these materials and all those things, I believe we can use locally made materials, and definitely we have impacts on the rental value or the sales value of property.
What should the government be doing? Now, the government should be doing, we should be opening up more areas. Lagos State is just a Lekki. By the time you look at Lekki, you look at Ikeja, you look at Ekpe and all that. But we should be opening up spaces for people.
If there were more lands, maybe we'd say, okay, let's start working on some things and the government should get involved. But there's not much land in Lagos. Unless they want to start meeting some states, like the way I think US did with some other countries, and say, can you give us out of your state land? We need to help. Like, maybe they can do that with Ogun State, because Ogun State, lots of bushes are there and fertile land. I guess if they can do that, like, hey, Ogun State, borrow me some small land, let me develop this and call this Lagos territory.
The government should be doing infrastructures in such a way that, okay, people can have access to, then also making housing accessible, buying land accessible in such a way that people can buy. Then when the infrastructures are okay, I can probably stay in Ibadan and work in Lagos. Yeah, I do my train from Ibadan to Lagos in the morning. I get to work, I'm done, I go back to, infrastructure. And no doubt, Lagos State had actually made effort with regards to all this rail system from, you can move from one part of Lagos to Marina. That's to reduce the, so that people can stay outskirts and also work in Lagos.
Government need to do the needful. They need to help the citizen. They need to help the industry. The bank needs to come up. Okay, the government should have a way of encouraging the mortgage to support the homeowner. When the house is available, the pressure will be eliminated.
The way being abroad, government builds, sells. According to your work, you can pay gradually.
Go to advanced countries, you can see what Malaysia is doing for their people. Go to Libya, they have this housing scheme all over places. Even though the young ones that is going, they have house already.
In some countries, a smart investor will build, you understand, and banks will buy and put the house on mortgage. Do we have such here? No. Our Nigerian banks are looking for the easy money to pick. They are not willing to even be partners in progress with the government. And sincerely, we cannot leave the government to bear the brunt of all of our developmental needs or challenges. The private investor must come in.
Rent in Lagos continues to rise. But after all the conversations, opinions, and explanations, the question still remains: why does it keep rising? Different people have different answers. But for millions trying to find a place to live in Lagos, the impact is already real. This is the cost of rent in Lagos, and the conversation is far from over.